Every morning, millions of women over 65 step into the shower, believing they're doing something good for their body. But what if I told you that your daily shower might actually be making you age faster? Dermatologists warn that certain bathing habits, from water temperature to the way you dry your skin, can silently damage your body's natural barrier, drain essential moisture, and even accelerate wrinkles and sagging skin. And the truth is, most women don't even realize they're doing it. In this video, I'll reveal 9 common bathing mistakes that are secretly making you look older than you are, and the simple, science-backed ways to fix them, starting today. Because how you shower matters far more than you think. Your skin, your hair, and your energy all depend on it. So, let's begin with the first mistake. One that feels comforting in the moment, but silently steals your skin's youth every single day. Mistake number 1, showering with water that's too hot. Mary, 68, lives in Minnesota, where winters can drop to 10 degrees below zero. Every morning, she starts her day by turning on the shower and letting the steaming hot water envelop her body. It feels comforting, like she's being reborn in that soothing warmth. But just a few months later, Mary began to notice something strange. Her skin became dry, rough, and flaky around her forearms. She tried moisturizing, changing her body wash, even taking collagen supplements. But her skin still felt thirsty, still lacked that smooth, soft texture she once had. The reason, though, was much simpler than she thought. Hot water, above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius, strips away the skin's natural lipid barrier. That layer works like a protective coat, sealing in moisture and preventing dehydration. When it's washed away every day, the skin loses its ability to retain water. The result? Dryness, itching, wrinkles, and a loss of elasticity. According to the American Academy of Dermatology, frequent exposure to excessively hot water accelerates skin aging by depleting lipids and damaging surface collagen. Mary laughed when I told her this. She said, "Oh my goodness, I've been drying out my own skin all these years without realizing it." I told her, "Mary, you don't have to give up warmth, just lower the temperature a bit. Aim for lukewarm water, around 98 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 to 38 degrees Celsius, and keep your showers under 10 minutes. And here's a small secret. When you apply moisturizer right after your shower, while your skin is still slightly damp, you're locking in that precious hydration, keeping your skin soft, supple, and glowing all day long. A small change, but one that helped Mary and many women over 65 regain smoother, healthier, and more youthful-looking skin in just a few weeks. Mistake number 2. Using strong fragranced soaps. Linda, 72, was a literature teacher. She's a refined woman, and to her, being clean means smelling pleasant. Every morning she used a floral-scented soap, what she called her clean smell. She loved that squeaky clean feeling after each shower, believing it washed away all the dust of age. But after a few months, Linda began noticing changes. Her neck, arms, and lower legs became sensitive, dry, itchy, and slightly red after bathing. She thought it was just the weather, or perhaps aging. But when I asked more, she admitted she'd been using the same strong floral soap for over 10 years. I smiled and said gently, "Linda, sometimes the very thing that makes us smell nice is what's making our skin weaker." She blushed and laughed, saying, "Doctor, I just can't live without that scent. It makes me feel like I'm still a woman." I understood that feeling, but I encouraged her to try switching to a milder, fragrance-free body wash, or one with only a soft, natural scent. "Just try it for a week," I said, "and let your skin tell you the difference." 3 weeks later, Linda came back for a follow-up. She walked in smiling, showing off her silky, smooth hands. "Doctor," she said, "my skin doesn't itch anymore. And strangely, my husband says my skin smells even better, kind of fresh and natural." I smiled and replied, "That's the true scent of healthy skin, Linda. Fragrance doesn't come from soap. It comes from skin that's being cared for the right way." Mistake number 3, scrubbing too hard. Rosa, 70, spent more than 3 decades as a devoted nurse in a busy hospital. A lifetime of caring for others taught her one rule she lived by: clean means thoroughly clean. Even after retirement, Rosa kept her old routine: long showers and vigorous scrubbing with a stiff brush every single day. She believed that only by doing so could she wash away dirt, sweat, and the weight of age. But one morning, Rosa looked in the mirror and noticed something different. Her arms appeared darker, with tiny red streaks forming on her skin. The skin on her shoulders had become thinner, and at times it burned slightly, as if sunburned, even though she hadn't gone outside. She wondered, "I'm cleaner than ever. So why does my skin look worse?" When I asked about her shower habits, Rosa smiled softly. "I only use a brush, doctor. I scrub hard, just to make sure I'm clean. I've done it for decades." I nodded and said, "Rosa, sometimes we don't need to be that harsh with ourselves. Your body doesn't need to be scrubbed to be clean. It just needs to be cared for, gently." She paused for a moment, then nodded thoughtfully. A week later, Rosa returned and told me, "I followed your advice. I stopped using the brush and just used my hands and a soft towel instead. At first, I was afraid I wouldn't feel clean, but now my skin feels smoother. I actually feel loved each time I shower." I smiled and said, "That's exactly it, Rosa. Bathing isn't about removing your body, it's about reconnecting with it." Mistake number 4, showering too long or too often. Helen, 66, lives alone in a small, quiet suburban home. Every morning she takes long showers, sometimes close to half an hour, because it's the one time of day she feels truly relaxed. No rush, no noise, no one to disturb her. In the evening, before bed, she showers again, hoping to wash away the exhaustion of the day. She once told me, "Doctor, showering makes me feel alive again. Warm water helps me forget how lonely I am." I understood that feeling. For many women over 60, bathing isn't just about cleanliness. It's a ritual of peace, a way to reconnect with themselves. But Helen didn't realize that staying too long in water was quietly damaging her body, drying her skin, weakening her hair, and stripping away the protective barrier her skin needs to stay healthy. After a few months, she began noticing dry, tight skin. Her hair broke more easily. Her nails became brittle. She changed shampoos, switched to gentler body washes, but nothing improved. When I asked how long she stayed in the shower, she looked surprised. "Oh, I haven't really thought about it. Maybe 30 or 40 minutes." I smiled and said, "Helen, water can soothe the soul, but it can also take away what your skin truly needs if you stay in it too long." I suggested something different. Shower only once a day for no more than 10 to 12 minutes, and if she wanted to relax, soak her feet instead, in warm water with a few drops of lavender oil. "Let your skin keep its peace too," I told her, "so it doesn't have to pay the price for your calm." 2 weeks later, Helen returned with a bright smile. "Doctor," she said, "I followed your advice. My skin feels softer now, and surprisingly I still feel just as relaxed, only without the dryness." I smiled back and said, "Sometimes what the body needs isn't more, it's simply the right way." Mistake number 5, not moisturizing immediately after showering, 10:30 to 12:30. Patricia, 69, is an active woman who's always on the move. She often says, "I barely have time for myself." After I shower, I have to rush out, otherwise I'll be late for my appointments or my husband's lunch. After every shower, Patricia quickly pats herself dry with a towel, then gets dressed right away. Moisturizer? She owns one, but usually applies it only at night, when I have time. During the day, she believes that simply taking a clean shower is enough. But over time, she noticed her skin getting drier, especially on her arms and legs. Tiny cracks began to appear around her knees and elbows, and she started avoiding short skirts. She sighed. "I drink water all day, but my skin still feels like the desert." So I asked, "Patricia, when do you usually apply your lotion?" She replied, "Usually after I get dressed, maybe 10 or 15 minutes after showering." "Why does it make a difference, doctor?" I smiled and said, "Yes, and a big one. Right after your shower, within the first 3 minutes, your skin acts like a sponge, soft, damp, and ready to absorb nutrients. But if you wait too long, that moisture evaporates, and even the best lotion won't do much." She paused, then laughed. 3 minutes? I never realized time mattered that much. A week later, Patricia returned, glowing with joy. She said, "I started keeping my lotion in the bathroom. I apply it right after I towel off, and my skin feels smoother already. My husband even said, 'Your skin smells softer, like it did years ago.'" I chuckled and replied, "That's the scent of skin that's being loved at the right moment, Patricia." Mistake number 6. Using old or improperly washed towels. Susan, 73, is a careful and organized woman. She has a favorite towel, a soft, pale pink one she's used for nearly 6 months. After every wash, she neatly folds it, hangs it in her bathroom, and places it back in its exact spot. To her, that towel feels like a dear friend. She greets every morning. But recently, Susan started noticing strange itchiness, especially on her back and neck. Tiny bumps began to appear even though she hadn't changed her soap or skincare routine. She assumed it was just aging or maybe an allergy to her body wash. When she came to see me, she explained everything, her diet, medications, and the products she used. Everything seemed fine. Then I asked, "How long have you been using your towel?" She chuckled. "Oh, I wash it all the time. But I love this one. I've been using it since spring. It still smells fresh from the fabric softener." I nodded and smiled. "Susan," I said gently, "it might smell nice, but inside those soft fibers, there's probably a tiny garden of bacteria." She widened her eyes, thinking I was joking. I continued, "When we dry ourselves, towels absorb dead skin cells, natural oils, and moisture. If they're not washed and fully dried, they become the perfect home for bacteria to grow." Susan frowned for a moment, then nodded thoughtfully. A week later, she returned, smiling brightly. "I threw away my old towel, bought a few new ones, and now I change them every 2 or 3 days. The itchiness is completely gone, and showering feels so much fresher now." I said softly, "Sometimes the freshness your skin needs doesn't come from a fancy cream. It simply comes from a clean towel." She laughed and added, "And I realized keeping my towels clean is just another way of loving my body a little more." Mistake number 7. Neglecting hidden areas. Margaret, 71, is a graceful and elegant woman. She's always well put together, neatly pressed clothes, tidy hair, and a soft hint of lavender perfume. She showers every day and considers herself very clean. But during a recent checkup, she quietly mentioned that the skin under her breasts had become red, slightly itchy, and had a faint odor. Embarrassed, she said softly, "I don't understand, doctor. I bathe thoroughly every day, but that area always feels damp and uncomfortable." I asked if she usually dried areas like skin folds, between toes, or behind her ears. She smiled shyly and shook her head. To be honest, I mostly focus on my face, neck, arms, and legs. As for those other spots, well, no one sees them, so I didn't think they mattered. I replied gently, "Margaret, sometimes the places no one sees are the ones your body needs you to care for the most." Hidden areas, like under the breasts, between belly folds, between toes, and behind the ears, tend to trap sweat and bacteria. For women over 60, thinner skin and retained moisture in these spots can lead to odor, irritation, and even infections over time. She paused thoughtfully, then nodded. Maybe I've been caring only for what others can see, and forgetting the parts of me only I know. A few weeks later, Margaret returned with a bright smile. She said, "I started using a separate towel for those areas, drying them carefully and dusting on a light body powder. Now my skin feels dry, comfortable, and even my body odor has softened." I smiled and said, "That's wonderful, Margaret. When we care for our bodies with grace, even in the places no one sees, our bodies respond with comfort, confidence, and quiet radiance." Mistake number 8. Blow drying too close to your hair or body after showering. Betty, 65, has always taken pride in her hair. Since her younger days, she's loved keeping it neat, full, and perfectly styled, never leaving it to dry on its own. After every shower, Betty immediately plugs in her hairdryer, bends forward, and holds it close to her scalp. Fast, hot, and efficient. But in recent months, she began noticing her hair becoming weaker. The strands felt thinner, the ends dry and brittle, and her scalp slightly sore each time she brushed. She blamed it on age, hormones, or shampoo, but the real culprit was much simpler: her daily blow-drying habit. When I asked about her routine, she laughed and said, "Oh, I always hold the dryer close to my scalp to make it dry faster, doctor. I've done it that way for decades." I replied softly, "Sometimes, Betty, it's the most familiar habits that tire our bodies the most." She grew quiet for a moment, then nodded. I advised her, "Try holding the dryer about 8 inches, around 20 centimeters, away from your scalp. Use a low heat or cool air setting. If possible, let your hair air dry partially before blow drying, and remember to apply a bit of light hair oil beforehand." A week later, Betty returned with a bright smile. "I followed your advice," she said. "At first it took longer, but now my hair feels softer, and my scalp doesn't sting anymore. I realized I don't have to rush everything dry. Slowing down actually makes things better." I smiled back and said, "That's right, Betty." Just like in life, when we stop rushing, our bodies finally have the chance to heal and reveal their natural beauty. Mistake number 9. Showering too late, right before bed. Diana, 67, is an energetic woman, but she often struggles with insomnia. She told me, "I toss and turn all night. Some nights I only sleep a few hours. But if I take a hot shower before bed, I feel calmer, at least for a while." So every night around 10 p.m., she'd turn on the hot water and soak in the tub for half an hour. The warmth made her feel relaxed. But shortly after getting into bed, she found herself restless again. She'd roll from side to side, unable to fall asleep, even though her body felt tired. When she told me this, I asked gently, "Diana, how long after your shower do you usually go to bed?" She said, "About 10 minutes. I shower and go straight to bed." I nodded and explained, "Our bodies need time to cool down before sleep. Showering too late raises your core temperature, making it harder for your brain to release the hormones that help you relax and fall asleep. It feels soothing in the moment, but it actually keeps your body more alert afterward." Surprised, she said, "So I've been keeping myself awake without realizing it?" I smiled. "Not exactly, Diana. Your body's just trying to tell you it needs a bit more time to unwind." I suggested she shower 1 to 2 hours earlier, using lukewarm water instead of hot, and add a few drops of lavender essential oil to help her relax. A few weeks later, Diana returned, looking refreshed. She smiled and said, "I tried what you said. I shower earlier now, then read for a bit before bed. I've been sleeping deeper, longer, and my skin even looks better in the morning." I replied, "That's wonderful, Diana. When your sleep is restored, your skin and body heal too. Sometimes self-care isn't about doing more. It's simply about doing it at the right time. 9 women, 9 small habits, and 9 gentle lessons showing how our bodies never forget the way we treat them. None of these women meant to do anything wrong. They simply wanted to feel cleaner, more comfortable, more youthful. But once they began adjusting those small habits, lowering the water temperature, replacing an old towel, applying lotion a bit sooner, or showering earlier in the evening, everything slowly changed. Their skin grew softer, their sleep deeper, their hair smoother, and even their faces looked calmer and brighter. And I still believe, our bodies never forget kindness. Each time you treat it with care, a little bit of youth returns. If today you found yourself in even one of these 9 mistakes, type 1 in the comments. So I'll know you're here with VitalAge Health, ready to begin your own journey of rejuvenation, starting today. Thank you for watching until the end. If this video helped you understand your skin and body better, please like, subscribe to VitalAge Health, and share this video to spread these gentle reminders to other women over 60. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the secrets to living healthier, lovelier, and more gracefully every single day.